advice. Just keep, you give you the same advice everybody else would give you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let nobody get to you. Shit like that.
That is standard advice.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Are you selling Cash Money through Cash Money?
Cash Money West.
Oh, so that is through Birdman and
All I know is Cash Money West and Wack100. You gotta ask Wack about the other people involved.
You haven't seen your own paperwork?
Nah, I seen it, but Wack showed me. I ain't see the. I signed with Cash Money West. I don't really know about all the.
So Wack runs Cash Money West.
Exactly.
Then. Okay.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. It looks like DJ Akademiks isn't done pulling the curtains back on Blueface's contract situation. Recently, he revealed that CS2 Back had not only signed Blueface to a record deal, but also brought him on as a managed artist, which is a clear conflict of interest. In doing so, Akademiks exposed CS2 Back's questionable business practices, while also presenting Blueface with a potential path out of his contract. CS2 Back responded by going on No Jumper with Adam, insisting that Akademiks got the story completely wrong.
This is where Act gets shut down at. He said Blueface is signed to me, right? Blueface was signed to Cash Money West. Cash Money West is owned by who?
Birdman.
I just oversee that division. So what the fuck are you talking about?
But Akademiks wasn't letting it slide. Instead, he broke down Wack's claims piece by piece, digging deeper into the details and presenting evidence that only further contradicted his narrative. So with all that said, let's get right into it.
Right. Because I do want to address like this Wack100 thing. Me and Wack did talk. We saw each other fight. And actually, maybe I called him, but not right now because I'm on like a little roll. I want to derail it. And I know sometimes I feel he derails the stream. I love Wack, though. Before I get to the topic of him and LLE, I do want to address, this idea and what I spoke about with Wack100. It was clipped. I won't say that necessarily out of context, but people took a piece of what I said and they ran with these salacious titles to say, I am accusing Wack100 of completely robbing Blueface. Now,
that's exactly what Akademiks is accusing him of. And not just that. He's also accusing him of lying and a whole lot of other things. We're going to see all of it unfold as this situation continues.
I could probably play what I said, just to make sure I'm holding myself accountable and not trying to like change the narrative. But also I want to play what Wack said in response to it. And maybe that's fair, right? Let's go. It's a conflict of interest. I'm not going to get into business, but I always knew Blueface was pretty stupid. I'm going to tell you why. Blueface is signed to Wack100 and managed by Wack100. Let me tell you how this works. When you sign to a label, they take at least half already. Then you're getting managed by the guy who owns the label. So of your 50% that you're getting, or less than 50%, he's still taking at least 20% of that too. It's double dipping. You get what I'm saying? So you never sign, you never get managed, or you don't have a management company owned by the people that also sign you. Okay. Now, before I address and kind of like, not necessarily clean up what I meant or really fully explain, I do want to give Wack100 the opportunity.
Akademiks claims that you've been stealing money from Blueface.
Yeah, I got on his ass about that. That was crazy.
So for the record, he said since Blueface is signed to you on a music level and managed by you, that means that you're essentially taking like half of his money.
Here's the thing with Akademiks. When I talked to him, I said, have you ever done a contract with anybody musically?
Wack never said that to me, and I absolutely have.
At the beginning, you heard DJ Akademiks say that he loves Wack. But for someone who claims to love him, he sure doesn't hesitate to expose him. Right there, he says that CS2 Back is lying, and that Porky never said any of that to him. So like I said before, he's not just exposing Porky for being a janky promoter. He's also calling him a liar.
I literally have a joint venture, just like I have a joint venture, the Academy Records. It falls under 10K. Used to be under Capitol, and now they send me notice they're under Atlantic or AMG. Okay, which is a newly formed thing. Elliot, which is the son of Lucian Grange. The deal I did was with the son of Lucian Grange, which is Elliot Grange. It's on 10K Projects. It's there. I'm signed to my own label, right? Which literally I had to sign that myself, and also I signed another person as well, and also I've offered contracts as well. But that's neither here nor there. Would I say I have more experience in Wack with doing contracts and stuff like that? I would say no, because Wack has worked with a lot more people, clearly.
No, I said, what are you talking about? Well, I'm looking at Finesse. Finesse's contract, he got 4 or 5 people. I would never allow that to happen with none of my clients because I know too many direct people.
But who is it? It's
Moneybag Yo.
Oh, so he originally signed
Mob Ties.
and then Mob Ties.
JPE, which is the dad. You got Atlantic as the mother company. So that's 4. And then him. You see what I'm saying? So his 20% is really probably 20% of a 40%, which is really like 8%. This is where Act gets shut down at. He said Blueface is signed to me, right? Blueface was signed to Cash Money West.
Exactly.
Oh, you signed to Cash Money through Cash Money?
Cash Money West.
Oh, so that is through Birdman and
All I know is Cash
Slim.
Money West and Wack100. Wack100. Wack100.
Cash Money West is owned by who?
Birdman.
I just oversee that division. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Akademiks claims
The reason why Wack is really good is that he has a way with words, like any great media personality is. That's why I think he's one of the top media personalities. I want to make some corrections to what he's saying.
The Akademiks may love Porky, but he doesn't love Porky more than he loves himself. And that's exactly why he wasn't about to let that slide. He had to come back, double down, and once again prove that Porky was lying.
It also probably helped clearing up what I was saying. I don't know the full details of the business between Wack100 and Blueface. Anything I'm saying it in general, even though based on what we've heard publicly from Blueface's own mouth on interviews and even recently, it feels like what I said matched up with what was going on. I don't have the contracts. I haven't looked at Blueface's stuff. So I'm going off of what they have said publicly, what we perceive, and how that should be interpreted. Here's the very premise. The premise is this. If I do a contract, like put it like this, this happened with the Offset like QC thing. It's a reason why, well, let me use another analogy before I get to that. If me and 15 chat niggas get caught up in a RICO, hopefully we don't, right? It's a reason why it's a conflict of interest for your lawyer to be a lawyer of someone else. Why is it a conflict of interest? Because at a certain point, they might have to enter into a proffer status or whatever with the government that now you have to pick whose interest you're prioritizing. It's a conflict of interest for someone else. That's why people have separate attorneys. By the way, it's the reason why a judge would get recused in many situations. If a judge, who many judges used to be prosecutors and also had private practices as defense attorneys, if a judge previously, and by the way, I thought this helped out YSL Mondo, Fonnie Willis previously represented YSL Mondo, who's self-acknowledged as a co-founder of YSL, when she was doing private practice in between one of her prosecutorial gigs, and she represented him for a gun case. Clearly, who knows how that representation went? She may have had a lot of knowledge from attorney-client privilege. Now, because she represented him, it would be unethical of her to then prosecute him, given the fact that she also has information that it should be only between them. Now, technically, that should be a thing, but what would normally happen is that prosecutor would recuse himself. Doesn't mean that YSL Mondo could never be charged. No. What it means is that to not have a conflict of interest, you don't want someone who previously was with you to be prosecuting you, because now it puts you in a disadvantaged position. So whether it's a judge that used to be an attorney that represented you, or a prosecutor that used to be a defense attorney that represented you, those people would what they call recuse themselves. It's a conflict of interest. In business, if I'm trying to sign someone, like I was trying to, and I eventually did, I successfully signed someone to the Academy Records back then. They wanted to use my lawyer. My lawyer helped me get the deal. My lawyer got 5% of my overall deal for the Academy Records. He is incentivized to make sure me, who's going to be the guy who's signing a bunch of people, I got the budget, I'm the guy. He wants me to get the most of money because he's going to get the most of money, right? So it wouldn't be ethical if I am signing a young kid and I said to the kid, you need a lawyer, but use my lawyer. That lawyer's not going to go in there and say, hey, let me get the deal really in the favor of this guy when I'm already eating with Ack over here. He's just going to get me the best deal. Do you understand? It's a conflict of interest. It's a pretty simple thing to acknowledge. Here was my understanding of what Blueface contract and situation was, right? And Wack does a really sleight of hand right here, and I want to point it out.
What is it? It's
Money bag, yo. His contract.
Here we go.
Anybody, music.
his money.
Here's the thing with Akademiks. When I talked to him, I said, have you ever done a contract with anybody musically? No. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I'm looking at finesse. Finesse is
Now, even though the conversation that I had stemmed from finesse, I was talking about a particular part. It's not about the 5 people in the contract. James Prince, the father's, James Prince Sr., he's listed in the contract, but really he's a manager. It becomes a conflict of interest. That's where I got this idea of conflict of interest. If he's supposed to be managed by the father, but signed to the son, why in the contract does the father, who is quote unquote going to be that's already a conflict of interest. You're managed by the father of the nigga you're signed to. Come on, like these are like kind of simple things, right? Like we're not like we don't got to be Aristotle or something, right? But whatever. Let's say that happens. When reading the contract, the father was also included as someone that was going to take percentage. Well, to me, that's double dipping. How are you the manager? And how are you also in the contract as the person that will be getting some type of proceeds from the music as if you were a label or, and this is the important part, a production company. Now, I'm going to explain to you a little bit of music shit because Wack is going to overtalk it right here. Listen to Wack.
his contract. He got 4 or 5 people. I would never allow that to happen with.
Okay, so I explained that part already, right? It's not about necessarily the amount of people. It's that some people are doing 2 different roles, but they're all claiming percentage. That's a problem.
None of my clients, because I know too many direct people.
But who is it? It's
And also the problem, even if you're saying, because somebody could make they could make the argument to say, well, JPE, which is James Prince Entertainment, he's in the contract because, you know, he's going to do management stuff, but he's just getting his money from the label. Well, no, you could do a letter of direction. And even then, that still piggybacks the artist because you're saying that you have now signed a manager for the duration of your record deal. That seems more than a manager. That seems like a partner. A manager, you should be able to fire whenever you want to fire him based on whatever deal you have. Now, maybe that includes, hey, you're going to be my manager for this entire record deal. Okay, cool, if that's what you want. But if your manager is baked in your deal that even if he's not working, he still gets paid, that seems like a partner, not a manager. A manager gets 20% off the top when he does services for you. But if your music does well, you know, and you had this deal, and whatever that comes from this deal, if he just gets paid no matter what, that sounds like a partner or an investor. But again, I'm trying to show you the sleight of hand of, you know, Wack speaking as if people don't understand, like the music industry is so complicated.
There goes Akademiks again, making sure everybody knows that Porky's been spinning them and warning people not to let him do it. He's calling out how Porky tries to make the music industry seem way more complicated than it actually is. So once again, Akademiks is pulling back the curtain and lifting Porky's skirt up.
Money bag, yo.
Oh, so he originally signed
Mob Ties.
and then Mob Ties.
JPE, which is the dad. You got Atlantic as the mother company. So that's 4. And then him. You see what I'm saying? So his 20% is really probably 20% of a 40%.
Okay, and this is where Wack does the talking. You know when Wack starts doing this shit, like, well, he got to be right,
Which is really
and he's kind of right here about finesse.
like 8%. This
But now the conversation comes back to him and Blueface.
is where Act gets shut down at. He said Blueface is signed to me, right? Blueface was signed to Cash Money West.
Okay. Now, this is, you know, I'll acknowledge I don't know the full details or all the intricacies of his business, but I'm going off what I always heard Wack say. So Cash Money West is Birdman's company. right? That's kind of ran or overseen by Wack100, or was, I don't know if currently. But just like how Atlantic, Uzi's quote unquote technically signed to, Uzi's really signed to Generation Now. That's called a production company. Wack100 is leaving out a step. Yeah, Blueface is signed to Cash Money West, but my understanding is that he's signed to Cash Money West through 100 ENT, which is Wack's production company. So technically, Blueface is signed to you, and you signed his rights to Cash Money. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't seen his contracts. And, you know, shit, you want me to go back on my trusted site? I could go back on my trusted site and pull up Blueface's name, right? We could pull up his name and, you know, give me 1 second. I don't know. Let me go find some tracks. Hold on. I'll put it on screen when I find. What was like his biggest track? Is it like, okay, here we go with this. Why does it say record label unavailable? All right, it's all good. What I'm gonna do is let me do here, and let me just go to Spotify yet again, right? So when I go to Spotify, and let's go to Blueface. This is gonna, you know, they usually are accurate and will print wherever it's coming through, which you can figure out label information there, right? So I don't know. His latest single is called Vibes, right? Vibes. Rich the Kid, DDG, and Blueface. I don't think this is. I think this is Rich the Kid's song, low key. What's the last? I want to see the last Blueface solo song to be able to see. Better featuring Stunner Girl. Okay, let's look at that. Now, you see what you see right here that says 2026 100 ENT? That's what Spotify is acknowledging the label to be. So when they're going to pay out for this song, even though it's only 142,000 views, they're going to pay 100 ENT. That's Wack100's company. Now, granted, from what I'm hearing and kind of like, you know, I'm kind of figuring it out, it doesn't seem like Cash Money is in the picture anymore. So I get it. Now the production company stands alone. So it's just through Wack, right? Now, but right now, you know, and this would be my argument to Wack. Your last song is dropped through a quote-unquote record label that you own. How are you not his label?
Now Porky wants to act like Blueface isn't signed to him, saying he's signed to Cash Money West and that it's all Birdman. But you heard what Akademiks just said. He pointed out that the last song was released directly under CS2Back's label. So how is he not signed to you? For some reason, Porky doesn't want people to know. He doesn't want it out there that Blueface is signed to him and locked into a management contract, where he's taking 70% of his money. That's almost worse than what Bob Arum and Top Rank were accused of doing to Manny Pacquiao. It's the exact same setup. CS2Back is the Black Bob Arum.
He could just upload this to TuneCore without you. If you're not his label, it shouldn't say 100 ENT. It could say on Schoolyard Crip. When it says this, it's because it's going up through you as a label. That's how it works. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't. Okay, now let's go off this assumption that Cash Money's not involved in this one, but maybe in the past one. So let's go back. Let's go back to 2024. We're going to pick a random song, but it has to be a Blueface song. We want to see how these things came out. Baby Mama. Okay, this is 2023. Perfect. Baby Mama Drama. Let's click on this song. What the fuck is this? 88601 Records DK. Okay. So what this is telling me now, right? What this is telling me, at least currently, let's go to BDD. Like, again, I'm just trying to figure out label. Okay, what label is this? 88601. 88601 Records. When I look on the song stats for this, I could tell whose label is registered to. It's distributed through DistroKid. And they've dropped TK, Cowboy, Rich the Kid, DDG. It says related artists, but it looks like it's mainly a DDG. No, not DDG. I mean, it's a Blueface label. Okay, so I don't know. That could be something else. And that's where I'm down to stand to say if I'm wrong, right? But going back, still in 2023. Oh, hold on, sorry, Chad. In 2023, I want to make sure this is big. Pause. It says 100 ENT. I don't know. This song is a big song. So Spotify would pay out 100 ENT. So Spotify would pay out 100 ENT. So Spotify would pay out 100 ENT.
So as you can see, Akademiks is throwing Porky straight under the bus. CS2back tried to go on Adam's show and clean it all up, but Akademiks wasn't letting that happen, because if he did, he'd basically be admitting that he didn't know what he was talking about. And he wasn't willing to do that. Instead, he broke it all down and made it clear that he does know what he's talking about, and that CS2back was sitting right in front of Adam, 22, lying to his face and lying to everyone watching, when he tried to claim that Blueface was signed to Birdman.
Now, whether Wack considers 100 ENT a production company or a record label, it's the same thing. Usually, just colloquially, people think that the record label is the funding party, which is Cash Money if Cash Money is attached. But he's technically signed to, or normally, because I don't know what deal they really have going on, but he's signed to you. Like, for example, if Atlantic Records drops Uzi and Uzi drops a song without Atlantic, it's still going to say Generation Now. He's signed to Generation Now. That's it. If Blueface was not signed to Wack, 100 ENT would not be on his music. Why is your record label on his music? So that's why I'm coming up with that. I haven't seen their contract, just to be clear, but I'm going off of this because let's go find some other songs. I don't know, Blue Racks, This Is Better Days. Okay, This Is Better Days. Is this one, let's get to come outside. Tell them boys get out the way. Yeah, right here. Outside Better Days. This is 2021. Let's click on this. Here we go. Fifth Amendment. Okay, so this one. So what it appears to me is that, I don't know, maybe he's signing these like single deals. It might be single deals. See, I don't know. And this one, I stand to be wrong. Because if we keep seeing different labels, now some of this label shit is because of Bobby Billions. So Bobby Billions is on Empire and whatever. And E1, I think that's the one who distributed Blueface's record. But I'm just going off of what we're seeing. That's it. So sometimes Blueface is dropping records coming out through what seemingly is Wack's. Where was Tatiana under? Let me just look at all these big songs. Here we go. Fuck. Why can't it? Shit, Tatiana. I'm trying to figure it out. Hold on. Tatiana. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm just trying to look at the label information. Okay, so in 2018, there is no Wack on this, right? There's no Wack. And that's the first album. Then Dirtbag drops. And that's on Cash Money. So Dirtbag has Cash Money on it. So seemingly, 100 ENT is not involved yet. Then Famous Crip Reloaded drops. And who drops that? Fifth Amendment. Well, they own the rights to it, so they would obviously re-drop it. But later on, it looks like, so again, I'm down to amend, I'm not that egotistical. What it appears is that Wack100's label came in after, looked like Cash Money does no longer do business with Wack. It's very clear, right? Like they literally was on a second album. We don't see them since.
Now we've got Akademiks confirming that Birdman and Cash Money no longer do any business with CS2back, meaning Cash Money West is officially no more. So that means Love's Boys is no longer an A&R.
It's BET weekend. My baby mom and my daughter go to the celebrity basketball game. It's at Crenshaw High. People sending me pictures. Wack, what's up? I look at the pictures. It's my baby mom and my daughter. Guess who 2 feet behind them? Big U.
Why don't the media
do Epstein like they do Diddy. We know everything. We know Diddy like to put cum on his nipples for men. Him and Cassie like to suck the cum off. So this is detail. Why we don't know details about Epstein? Where are the children? Where are their stories? Where are their testimonies? Why don't we have open access to Giselle's testimony and her cooperation with the government?
You mean Ghislaine? Yeah.
Ghislaine.
Yeah.
You know why? Because most of the people went to the island was politicians and powerful people, princesses of Wales, all them types, the real freaks, the evil people. The evil people who can go to an island and have access to children that nobody know have been kidnapped in the world. The evil people, those are our politicians. Those aren't poor people. Those are not people on drugs. Those are not gangbangers that's doing this. Gangbangers hurt their own people. But it's a group of people that take our children and they disappear, and powerful people have access to them. Child sex trafficking has surpassed drugs and guns in the world.